Thank you very much for having me. I know this is not a hardcore community troubleshooting session for Copilot, but I'm gonna set the stage here for why Copilot really. What are we looking for? And I renamed this session actually. I'm still evolving this and trying to make this actually into a keynote where I want to talk about the creative promise of Copilot, but also how to succeed with it. Because I've been honored enough in order to be on this show before, talking about digital well-being, working smart in Microsoft 365, and it turns out that still applies. So to get the most out of Copilot, you actually need to get your ducks in the row. You need to now we need to move over to working smart in Microsoft 365. And what I'm seeing in the market is that before Copilot, it was kind of nice to have and nice to do. It's like, yeah, what happens if you don't? What happens if you work like we did back in the days when we first got email on our phone in 2005? I've been working the same way for the last 20 years, and it's working for me. And it's like, well, then maybe you won't get the feedback that you're looking for with Copilot. Maybe you as an individual will succeed, but what we're looking for are organizations succeeding with the artificial intelligence, which is maybe not that intelligent as Ronnie pointed out, but still it might help us get some of our processes done faster so that we can spend more time on evolving our content, evolving our understanding, and so on and so forth. So that's also why it's driven by Viva. So Viva is still here and part of the Copilot story, because when you're going to roll out Copilot, I think Viva will have a very strong place helping to succeed with that. So I have some examples of that as well. So I hope this sounds interesting. When I'm done with this session, you might be like super duper inspired to get started with this yourself. And there is actually a possibility for you to test out Copilot already today, and I will show you how. My name is Ståle Hansen, and I'm the CEO of Cloudway. I'm a principal cloud architect at Cloudway. I work together with Jan Ketil Skanke, Sandy Seng, Maurice, Dali, and we are 11 people in 5 countries, and we do Microsoft 365. I'm a Microsoft 365 MVP, and I'm also Microsoft Regional Director. So let's get started here. We need to take this discussion back to ChatGPT, and because we need to talk about this, and just a reaction here. How many have tried ChatGPT? And I'm guessing it's a lot of you, but go and do a reaction, a thumbs up or a heart or something like that, because yeah, I do believe a lot of us have played with it. What I see though, and what's kind of a big deal here is that it went mainstream about a year ago, and people are still using it, which means it wasn't like a toy. It wasn't like fun, but what can we use it for? Some people are now actually using it as part of their processes. And that is what we need to talk about, because it actually changes the way we relate to information, and it changes our processes. So quick facts about ChatGPT. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. That's not something you can guess. It's not something you can like, oh yeah, definitely it's definitely generative pre-trained transformer. But the thing here is pre-trained. That is the essence here. I'm saying like AI before ChatGPT and after are 2 different things. When people talked about AI before ChatGPT, they talked about like, yeah, you need to deploy this engine, and then we're gonna feed it and train it. So maybe in 5 years, you maybe can use it for something cool. But after ChatGPT, it just worked. And that's why it went mainstream. Now everyone can try it, and you don't have to train it. You can just feed it some information, and then you can have a conversation with that information. It's kind of mind-blowing. So 30th of November, almost a year ago, it was launched, and 1 million users in the first week. And the pace it went from release to mainstream is mind-blowing. So I'm guessing a lot of you actually played with ChatGPT already in December, but already in January, normal people had played with it. People not like us, IT enthusiasts. It was normal people. It was those who barely know how to get a table summarized in Excel had played with it. Children at schools had played with it. And in the first half of 2023, we already saw examples of people sending in their school papers written by ChatGPT. That's how impactful this is. This is how disruptive this is, because it even might change the way we need to think about knowledge, about education, and what kind of skills do we need in the future? Do we really need the skills we are educating for today, or do we actually need to disrupt the school system even? And we don't know the answer to that. But the thing is, though, the last time that happened was in the Industrial Revolution. Because then when you got the Industrial Revolution, you got more advanced machinery, you got other types of skills, and that's why we needed to evolve the school system as well, so we could educate people so they could actually do those jobs that were popping up based on the Industrial Revolution. The thing is, though, that ChatGPT is owned by OpenAI, it's developed by OpenAI, and Microsoft is involved. And the reason I'm saying this is that we shouldn't be surprised that Microsoft is where they are today with Copilot, because they didn't scramble the 1st of January when ChatGPT went mainstream. They were the one putting the train on the station. They've been part of this for years, and they are actually pushing the boundaries here and supporting OpenAI. And I just want to say this because Satya Nadella, when he became a CEO at Microsoft, he said that AI will be core to all our services. And then he was too early. So he had to dial it back and focus on tech intensity and edge computing and all that. But now his end game is here. And his end game is AI everywhere. And that is what we're seeing now within Microsoft. You have Copilot for everything. They even announced Copilot in OneNote the other day. Like, Copilot will be everywhere and will help us with everything and will be in the context of where we are. And I think that's the important part. That's why you have the Copilot for everything, because you will see it in context of where you are. If you are in OneNote, if you are in Teams meetings, if you're in Teams chat, if you are in Windows, if you are whatever you are. And that is what we are talking about. So I just want to point this out, because Microsoft is the one putting and setting the train on the station, and the train is about to leave now. 1st of November, Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot is being launched for enterprises that has an enterprise agreement. That is just the first wave. And in time, you will see other opportunities then to get started with Copilot and buy those licenses. So this is just the beginning, but it's already being launched. And I was blown away already in March how much Microsoft had done in order to incorporate Copilot. So again, this is not something that Microsoft is reacting to. Microsoft is actually forming the landscape here, and it's kind of mind blowing. So what I did, though, and what I'm interested in is like, okay, what's the creative promise of Copilot? So let's when you talk about the stages of creativity. So ask the ChatGPT then, what are the stages of creativity? Well, historically, I'm saying historically because like this was yesterday. When you were going to create something or do something, you got a task or whatever, you had these 6 stages apparently. Stage 1 is preparation. This is, you get the task and you have an understanding of what you're going to do, and then you incubate. I would call this procrastinate, because that's what I do. I start procrastinating, and of course I do a lot of talks and so on. So when I have an idea what I want to talk about, and send it in for a conference, for instance, that's half a year down the road. Well, I create the abstract and so on, so I have a good understanding what I'm going to talk about. But then it takes some time for you to get accepted, maybe a month or so, and then maybe the event is like in a couple of months. That's my incubation / procrastination period, right? But also what I'm saying is that, yeah, it needs to be fresh material. So that's why I wait. But at the same time, though, you are still thinking about it, right? You have it in the back of your head. You're collecting information, maybe preparing your lab environment, and so on and so forth. For a project, for instance, you have a project plan and so on, and then you know, hey, I need to write this report and so on and so forth. So that's your preparation. And then you are delivering it. You are delivering your paper, you're delivering your PowerPoint, you're delivering your Excel spreadsheet, you're delivering whatever you're going to produce for your event. And that is the moment of insights or illumination. The thing is, though, this is where we stop traditionally. This is because we've broken our neck, actually, in order to just get here. We had to write the whole document. We had to create the whole PowerPoint. We needed to figure out how to get Excel to work the way we wanted it to work, so that we have this first initial draft and the first initial working version of our delivery. But that's where we stop, because in order to have evaluation, especially elaboration and having a conversation with our peers, that is a very hard and long process, because I need to take up your time. I need to involve other people. That's a tough process. And also, if it's good enough, right? We stop there. And typically, when I talk about this, most people recognize themselves in the process. That, yeah, we have the moment of illumination and insights. That's when we have produced our thing. We send it over or we deliver it, and then, yeah, it was good enough. Maybe, of course, if you do it multiple times, you can evolve it. If you're not, then that's what we got. So then I asked ChatGPT, what is the creative process with ChatGPT? And then it actually turned on its head. And this is kind of a big deal. So what we have now is idea generation, which is kind of the same as preparation, but we have an idea, but already instantly we can then share that idea with ChatGPT or Copilot. It's like, okay, I have this idea. I want to, can you write a draft for me on my idea based on this information, and can you pull in that source as well? And then you have the initial draft for that. And already on step 3, we are now in draft mode. And this is a huge difference between the traditional one, where we had to break our neck just to get the draft. Here we had the draft in no time. Doesn't mean everything is correct in there, but you are still in draft mode. And it is so cognitive hard to get from a blank page in order to have something. That's where you need to have deep work. You are procrastinating it, and maybe you need to have hours at your disposal in order to get there. Now you can actually throw an idea out there, get a draft. 5 minutes later, you have something and now you are in edit mode. And now you have that conversation with that content, which means that now you are already exploring and experimenting. We are already on a further step than we ever were in the traditional process. We are now, and also maybe with having that conversation with ChatGPT and Copilot, we might see that, hey, there is a topic here I didn't even think about. So you're actually bypassing your own confirmation bias, your own limited view of a problem limited view of understanding of a challenge. And then, oh yeah, that was actually a good idea. Let me investigate that. We are already here now on research and validation. Is that actually something that I want to incorporate? I need to know more about this. And already you have expanded the quality of what you're delivering. And then when you have something ready, then you can start tuning it. You can say, yeah, I want to pull in a quote talking about this. How can I say this in a different way? Is there an analogy I can use that fits this well? And also, hey, I want to create a joke. maybe you're not that funny. I'm not that funny. And so I need to like, okay, what's a fitting joke for this? How can I be funny over here? And so you're starting to tune the presentation, the content, and your idea in such a way that it's more presentable, more understandable. And I think that's the creative promise of ChatGPT and Copilot. So if you look then at what's going on here, this is the biggest change in the way we work since the internet. Or now I'm being conservative, actually. It is since the Industrial Revolution, because the creative process haven't really changed. Even though we got internet, even though we got Google, we still needed to research and pick the sources and then combine it. I think the strength of Copilot and ChatGPT as an engine is that you can actually ask about 5 things at the same time and have it combine those topics into one answer already for you. And I think that's one of the strengths. Try to do that. If you say, hey, what's the difference between this, this, and that? And I actually used it once to end the discussion and the meaning of those 3 different terms that might seem similar, but they do have different definitions. So we got Copilot and ChatGPT to let us know what are the actual differences in these terms and how should we interpret them. And that is where Copilot and ChatGPT shines. So yeah, it's the biggest change, people, and it's happening right in front of our eyes. I think this is the biggest change that we have ever seen in our professional careers. And I know some of us have been part of the internet revolution as well. And it's bigger than that, actually. All right. Let me show you some fantastic demos here. These are, of course, YouTube demos. I don't have access to Copilot that I can show you. But I just want to share the idea with you here. And just by showing you this picture of a blank Word document, I'm sure I'm inducing in 90% of us the will to or the wish for procrastination. You're getting like, oh, how can I get started with this? Because you know the topic, you know the content, you just need to get it down there. And you can't just copy what you already have done either, because that was in a different context. So, okay, the hardest part actually here is to find like, okay, how should I organize this information? But with Copilot, it looks like something like this. So you get a Copilot prompt where, hey, what do you want to do? Well, I have these notes here from OneNote. Can you combine my notes with our product sheet so that I can get an answer going in the context of my stuff? And then Copilot says, yeah, here you go. And already now we are in edit mode. And then I say, yeah, can you make it so it's designed the same way as our design template that you can find here? Yeah, you're welcome. Here you go. And already here we are in advanced mode. Who is like super good at putting a picture and text at the same page on the same column, right? Also, this is advanced stuff, people, and this always breaks. Now it's with the correct color coding. It's with our pictures that we like to use with this, and so on and so forth. We are already in an advanced stage. And then, hey, can you add an executive summary for me? And can you also add Q&A for us? So, and yeah, here we go.
Right? Utoppkobling på Jabraen, selv om ikke Jabraen koblet til.
Yeah.
Talking right now.
Yeah, we heard
Somebody
that.
needs to
The
mute.
Jabra isn't connected.
Ja,
Jeg kan egentlig bare stikke ned hvis du er i andre. Det er kanskje enklest.
Nei, jeg er på hjemmekontor i dag.
So, yeah,
There
can we
go.
get
Sorry.
thank you.
Somebody muted me instead of muting the
Yeah,
other
I'm sorry.
guy.
Don't mind. That was me. Sorry.
You bastard. Okay.
All right, but yeah, now we have something to work with. And already it might have brought in things that we didn't think about. It doesn't mean that everything here is correct. And it's not ready for shipping, but now we are ready to edit. And we are in edit mode. And cognitively, this is so much easier than to get here. Because typically we broke our neck just to get here. And that's what I'm talking about. So this is the creative promise of Copilot. But there's one more thing where Copilot really will shine. And it looks like this. This is Excel, people. Who here, raise of hands or give me a thumbs up, is an Excel expert? Yeah. A couple of people are Excel gurus here. That's nice. I am not. So what I have in OneNote, I have an Excel page where every time I need to do something, I go back to that page in order to, how do I do this thing? So so I have this reference sheet and I go to, I just search for Excel and here is my OneNote Excel tips, right? So this is how I do duplicate values. This is how I do look for, duplicates, create a drop down, right? Who knows how to do that? Conditional formatting, that's like super advanced stuff. A substitute, when I found that, was like, oh, I saved so much time instead of taking it out in Notepad and then removing stuff. You can do that in Excel, you know. VLOOKUP, I love that one. And I never understand and remember how it works. So yeah, Copilot in Excel, people. So you talk to, hey, can you analyze this table for me? What's happening here? And it says, yeah, this is happening in your table. Oh yeah, can you create then a summary for me, a new table with that, combining this? Yeah, here you go. That's nice. And already here there are formulas you never would have created yourself. And then, hey, can you color code this? Boom, it's color coded, people. And now now we are in the end game, right? What happens if now we are having a conversation with our information? What happens if we do this? Well, then you get these results. So what we are looking at here is that now you don't have to be an Excel guru. It was one person here who proclaimed himself an Excel guru out of 100 people. I think that's true. One in 100 maybe are an Excel guru. The rest of us, we can now ask Copilot, how do I get to there? I don't want to combine these cells. I want to have this information combined with that information, and I want to have some color coding and so on and so forth. Now everyone has an Excel Copilot. So instead of calling a friend or starting Googling it and you find some old answers and everything, this is then approachable by everyone. And this is what the engine is good at, logical operations. So you don't have to look at the creative mode of Copilot in order to get the effects of Copilot. Now we can enable people who are not Excel gurus, but are good analysts to then have a conversation with this data and to get this done. This is a big deal. And then you get asked, hey, can you create a 20-minute presentation of this Word document that you have created? And I was like, 20 minutes. Actually, that takes a lot of time to convert a Word document into a PowerPoint. So what we do then is ask Copilot, can't you take my Word document, please, and add the please, and convert it to PowerPoint, create a PowerPoint based on that. And then here you go, right? It's like with the pictures, with the formatting, with the headlines, and so on and so forth. And it's even good design, people. But then it's kind of wordy. Could you optimize this a bit for me? It's a bit wordy. It's like, I'm going to move a lot of the text into speaker notes, people. The notes here. Just moving text down into these notes takes forever. That's why we don't use it. And then you move over to better presentation technique where you have more pictures, you have getting your message across. You even saw adding some extra information here from another source just to set the stage here for the fly-in of the information. And can you create an animation for me? And now we are like way beyond like what 90% of people do in PowerPoint. And this is an important promise as well. It's not just that we have the PowerPoint, but again, we didn't break our neck in order to get here. This maybe took something you did between a break. It's like, I have something now. So if I don't have any time at all, well, I have something. And maybe it's good enough. But now you still have some energy left in order to start thinking about, okay, how can I say this in a different way? How can I make sure my idea come across? How can I, are there any good analogies and so on and so forth? You can start having a conversation with how you can present this in a different way. And yeah, that's what I'm looking for in Copilot. So there is a thing though, Windows Copilot, because what I'm talking about right now is Microsoft 365 Copilot. And Windows Copilot also is available, and it's integrated into Windows. It's Bing Chat Enterprise in the context of your Windows, where you can ask it to move to dark theme and start a focus session even. Did you know that the clock in Windows has a focus timer, right? It's fantastic. Can you organize my windows for me instead of you doing that yourself? Can you summarize this document for me? Because I don't want to read it. Or email, right? So in time then, it's only Copilot talking to Copilot, because you get an email and you get Copilot to summarize it, and then you answer back, and then they use Copilot to summarize it and start an answer for you, and so on and so forth. So yeah, you can have a conversation with what you want to get done in Windows as well, and you can actually get started with this today. So Windows 11 Copilot is here in preview. You have to be a Windows insider, and you need to have the latest update. And maybe Ronnie or Michael has some more information about this, but then you get the ability to have Copilot on your desktop. And it looks like this. So it's Copilot powered by Bing Chat Enterprise. And you can have it to be super creative. That's where you don't trust anything, or super precise, where you can use this. What's the advantage of using Bing Chat Enterprise is that it also shows you the sources where it got the information, and you can drill down and validate the source, which is really good. And so this is the Windows Copilot that you can test already today, and do it. It's a preview, so not everything works, but you can start testing it, working with it, and instead of going over to ChatGPT, you can go to your Bing Chat Enterprise, and it can look at the context. You can even have it look at the current context on the web page you are, and you can ask questions about where you are. So there are different flavors then of Copilot, especially in form of Microsoft 365 Copilot, Windows Copilot, and ChatGPT. So I would say that it's important to know what's what. So ChatGPT, Bing Chat, and Bing Chat Enterprise does not look at your internal data. It is just an internet-facing chat engine, but in Windows, Microsoft Windows Copilot, you can have it look at the context of the window you are in. Bing Chat Enterprise powered by Microsoft 365 Copilot or Copilot Chat, Business Chat in Teams, they are grounded in your data, and that's what's cost money. Bing Chat Enterprise, you have access to already today if you have a Microsoft license, A license, E license, and Business Premium. So I want to emphasize one thing here. Users and business data is protected and won't leak outside the organization. With ChatGPT, no, it will leak. It's actually used to train. So that's why organizations now are saying to employees that don't use ChatGPT for work-related stuff, because you are actually sharing our IP out on the internet when you're asking a clever question and basing data on this. So don't use ChatGPT for that, because if it's free, well, then you are the product. But for Bing Chat Enterprise, not Bing Chat, but Bing Chat Enterprise, it is protected. And that is important. So that's also why you should look into Windows Copilot, is because then you have Bing Chat Enterprise and your data is protected. Also for Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, your data is protected. But there's one more thing. And that is that uses internet search. Bing Chat Enterprise does, Copilot does not. Which means that Copilot will be something else than ChatGPT. It will be the GPT engine, but it won't be that you are combining with sources on the internet. You need to go into Bing Chat Enterprise in order to do that, which means this won't be like a one command to fix everything. It is a conversation. It is an iterative process. And that is what they said in the prompt engineering conference yesterday as well, that if your request is too complex, you won't get the answer you want. So you need to take it step by step. And you will need to have that ongoing conversation. Hey, can you tune this part? Can you get this information for me? And so on. And also setting the stage when asking. So being able to ask the right questions in terms of getting the answers you want is also important. An example that we used yesterday is that, okay, can you tell me, this was a simple question. Can you tell me why the sky is blue? And if you only ask that, it will talk to you like a 5-year-old. Yeah, the sky is blue because that's nice. But then you say, hey, if I am a physicist and I want to explain to my college students why the sky is blue, then you get a totally different answer. So you setting the stage when asking questions as well. Like, can you answer me like this person on this level where the respondent has this knowledge? Can you start to dive into it? And yeah, here you go. But you need to make sure the context is correct. So this list is created by MVP Marius Sandbu. So if you search for GPT-AI Copilot, you should find this GitHub repository, because he will update it continuously as the more information we get. So these are different Copilots. And Microsoft 365 Copilot is the one coming November 1st, but some of these are already available. Windows Copilot is in preview. GitHub Copilot has been there for a long time. And this is the promise of the conversation that you're going to have with this. So you are here, you're asking a question. It's rooted in your data, the data you have access to through Graph API. And it creates then a prompt, the proper prompt for you. So it is, the backend is helping you with the prompt as well. And you get an answer from the GPT engine. And then it then validates it's correct again, and then give you the answer and the command to the application. So there's a lot of things happening here. So the Copilot engine is more than just the language model. It is how the engine is interpreting what you're actually asking for and helping you create those prompts. So the new creative process, it's here, and I think I have, if I can share my audio, I have this, my communication and speaker coach, David J.P. Phillips. I recommend everyone looking into him. He was the one creating the TED Talk, Death by PowerPoint. And I hope I haven't killed you yet with my PowerPoint. But he has something interesting to say. And I hope you can hear this.
When somebody tells you, hey, can you build a 20-minute presentation? You build a 20-minute PowerPoint. No, a 20-minute presentation should be a variation of things. So maybe you start with a flip chart, then you do a story, then you do PowerPoint, then you do raise of hands, then you ask a question, and then you have a dialogue, then you have a story, then you have a PowerPoint, and then you do a contest. That's a presentation, combining variations.
Yeah. So the thing is with Copilot, when you ask Copilot, can you create a PowerPoint of this Word document for me that's going to last for 20 minutes? That's what it does, right? You need to bring now the presentation technique. You need to bring the people skills. You need to tune this so it's presented in a smart way, and how to engage your audience, right? But that's what we have been doing, right? Can you create a 20-minute presentation of that document that you created? And then that's what you do, because you break your neck just getting the slides. You get just getting the content out there. What I believe, though, and by the way, I hung out with David last year as well. Here's the proof, just so you know. But at the HR conference that were held last week, Microsoft were there. Now we need to look at people skills. And this is the disruptive part. Now, you don't have to be a tool specialist, but you need to have analytical skills. You need to have emotional intelligence. You need to be creative. Think of it outside the box, because it's your creativity and Copilot as a tool for you to get there. That's the strength here. You need to be curious, right? You need to start asking those questions. Like, it's all about those 3 whys. If you ask why 3 times, then maybe you get the root cause of things. You need to have good bias detection, right? And that's what Ronny alluded to as well. Like, is it though? Is it correct? Oh, I'm not so sure about this. And then you found out that you had the Copilot on creative mode, and it just invented. It's actually, I learned last night, it was called AI hallucination. AI, it can hallucinate something and be very persuasive about it. It says, "Is this correct?" Yes, it's correct. It's this is super correct. It's like, is it though? Yeah, it's super correct. But no, it's not. This is why you are not correct. Oh yeah, you're right. But it's like super persuasive and super confident until you prove it the other way. So bias detection, people, yeah. AI delegation, prompts, right? Prompt engineering. Those are the skills we are looking for moving forward. It's a completely different set of skills that we need to look for. And this is something we need to retrain for ourselves as well. Analytical judgment, for instance. How can we like ask the right questions in order to get what we want? Because everyone has access to the same information. It's about how you are interpreting and asking the right questions for that information. So what I believe is this. With Copilot, you spend less time, which is great, getting to where we were in the creative stage 3 originally. But I don't think we will save time, because now you have the energy of taking it to the next level. That is why I believe it will be a competitive advantage for any organization succeeding with Copilot. And I don't think it will be a linear difference between those who are not succeeding and those who are succeeding. I think it will be an exponential difference, because when you have the power of Copilot, and you have that feedback loop. That feedback loop will take you somewhere completely different place than what you would have all by yourself. This is why, if you don't have a plan for AI and Copilot in your organization, I'm saying a plan because it's not just about buying the licenses. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what is your plan for success with Copilot. If you don't have that plan and say, no, we are not going to have a plan for that, then I think you are in, what's it called? You are outsourcing yourself. You are in decline. You will maybe not exist in 5 years as a company. And this is where we are today. And then I had 120 more slides on this, but I see I spent a lot of time talking about this. But how do we get there? So let me spend 1 minute talking about that. Well, it turns out though, we need to learn to talk to each other. It turns out that Copilot has access to what you have access to. So if you run your processes in chat, in closed discussions, if you take your notes on pen and paper, if you primarily send emails to a few people, then you won't get the effect of Copilot, where Copilot can summarize what happened last week for you in Teams. Because, yeah, I don't have access to your chats. I don't have access to your OneDrive. That's why we need to make sure we are working out loud in the tools we have. So let's jump over the other 120 slides that I had here. Yeah, I think it was 200 slides actually. But the thing is though, with Copilot, we still need to change the way we work in order to get that success. Yes, individuals will always succeed, but we're talking about companies succeeding now. And the clock is ticking. And that's what we're seeing in Cloudway as well. Suddenly, we are landing a lot of projects, deploying what we have been talking about for the past 10 years. Data quality, tagging of information, making sure that we have a good culture. Digital well-being is super important now. And this is make or break for the next couple of years for a lot of organizations. If your competitor is succeeding and you are not, then you are at a disadvantage. Thank you.